Good morning, coming to you live at 0700 hours, 48 minutes, Monday, May 6, 2019. This is titled Defeated versus Undefeated. The reason, this is not a guidance or a challenge. This is, like a spoken word, a poem. You know how like somebody, such as somebody just narrating? Well, this is going to sound like a narration. As I'm speaking as you watch a movie. Think about all the things in your life as I say that. Think about your history. Do your child know their history? Do you know your history? Do you know all your history? Do you know where the Bohemian Islands came from? Like Bohemian. So Voodoo baptism. Do you know where your religion derived from? Do you know your origin of religion? Do you know where the language you speak derived from? Do you know the origin of the language? Do you know anything about anything that you're doing today in this society? If not, I challenge you and I wholeheartedly, what's the word I'm looking for? I wholeheartedly ask you, I beg you, please, please do some research and let it continue. Because if you're telling me if you learn knowledge in this life and you don't know about where your holidays come from, how holidays were started, I even just learned that a lot of things we do just started happening. That's why a lot of people are, this is the worst part about death. Since we don't live, I think if some way we can find a way without some genetic, some Scientologist way, some crazy demonic way, we can live for 200, 300 years, I would live that long because I learned my purpose. My purpose is to unravel, to dig in, to dive, to go deep into the information that we forgot about. Because we wasn't celebrating holidays. We didn't even have certain religions to certain centuries. We didn't have certain laws to certain, a lot of things didn't happen just out of the blue sky. We didn't have a book to read about a religion. We didn't have a book to read about a lot of things. But the books helped a lot of things that are true and a lot of things that are the truth and are all truth. So there's three different steps. I say truth because you can change truth because it's a fact. I always say truth versus fact because you can have the truth, but if you change the facts, that become the truth. So then it become true, then it become the truth, then it become all truth. But what is truth? What does the truth stand on? So if it's a rock can be broken, but when you break it, it's going to break into different pieces. When they turn into pieces, it become pebbles. And then if you turn to pebbles and you break the pebbles, it become a powder. Then it becomes so, and you wet it, and if you wet it again, you can make concrete, and it's turned right back into rock, and it's just a different form. The rock is not weakened. The rock is still the same. It's just that you created a new substance. You created the rock from the powder of the rock. Basically, that's all. That is all what is concrete is. When they pour concrete, you pour rock from rock. It don't, and we always taught that it get weaker if you keep lessening it. And it's not lessening, you just breaking it down because that's what everything we do in this world. What was it? I have to think about it. But it was something that I had learned that wouldn't even happen in the 19. It just happened in the 1920s. It didn't even happen. Just like the holidays weren't celebrated to the 1930s. So as I speak, just think about a lot of things that we have to be true. We are defeated and we are undefeated. You know why we are defeated? Think about the word defeat. Defrost, deprogram. Is to take back away of what we already have and then tell me that this is what it's supposed to be. So if you deprogram, you get rid of all the programs that you know that's not for you. Just if you defrost, the ice will melt. Your defrosting most of the time is going to be ice if you say defrost. So the ice, how do ice form? It's water that freezes under a certain temperature. So if I defrost it, I'm making sure, so I'm putting that water back into a temperature where the water can melt again. And then I can wipe off whatever the leftover is. So if we are defeated, aren't we under the feet? That means we have given up. We putting ourselves back under. We're going back to the state. So if we supposed to be undefeated, and if we supposed to rise, if we supposed to elevate, I don't use the word level up. Sometimes I do pertaining to certain things because I rather say let's get to the starting point and then the mark in the beginning. There's I don't say levels to this because they use that in the more terms of you going to become better based on the things you have now or based on it's to me if you're going to say let's change our quality of the people and if you think about the people we are we not resilient? Are we not persevere? Do we not persevere? Are we not determined? So you telling me all this time, after thousands of years, we've been slaves, and now we have some type of order going on within our own culture. We know what culture we can read about it, we can see it. You telling me we're gonna die out? You're defeated. I don't want to be around you because if the same people that was fighting for my freeness and they had to do it a different way because the order to get to this way they have to go under a certain order, which is not wrong. We think all the orders that we see. So let's take example Martin Luther King Jr. and Brother Malcolm. The way they did it wasn't wrong. Don't allow the government. Don't say the government. Talk about they raised them. If it wasn't for the government. See, that's a defeated mind. We keep doing defeated mind things. I don't no longer. Just Chris Broussard came on there and talked to the athlete, talk about black, quote unquote, black women. No, that's defeated. There's nothing wrong with black women. And if there's something wrong with black women, there's something wrong with black men, quote unquote. And there's something wrong with black men, quote unquote. There's something wrong with black women. Because black women raise black men. If you don't have no understanding on how woman and man work, does not the woman nurture her child? Every woman that has a child, I don't care if she's a single mother, a stay-at-home mom, or a mom that has a business, or how whatever her lifestyle consists of, she has to raise her son and daughter with that womanly aspect. And if she don't do a well job, you will see it. She do a good job, you will see it. So when you start defeating yourself, you start taking away and putting everything under your feet instead of saying that I'm standing tall and I will win. The opposite of defeat is win. And win don't have a place mark. A win don't have a position mark. Winning is saying I've done my all. I use the word best sometimes. It depends on how you're going to describe it. I've done my all to get to where I'm at. I'm not looking for first, second, third, or fourth place. I'm looking for a place within me. Did I do my best? How did I get here? Did I slack off? Because sometimes even the race is not even won against a person, it's won against yourself. Think about that. The race sometimes is not won against that person, is won against self. So the word won, W-O-N and O-N-E, sound the same, don't it? So one and one. So, and if you're going to say now, if you're going to understand a little bit about language and the makeup and the derive and the etymology and the linguistics of language, one man. Actually, the first word, woman was not called one man. It changed because women thought that was vulgar. It was called with man. And it was with mean female servant. And it was vulgar and it sounded ugly. So they called it wolf man. So woman servant of human. Because man mean human being. That's why they made man. So you have to study a little bit of information to know a little bit more. So they changed the word to woman. That's why when you see me write the word woman, and if you look at my playlist, it say woman or womwin, A-N or E-N at the end, as if I was writing one men or a woman, one or plural. So I don't use their name because if you look at the womb, that's where all life is created. And if you look at earth, they call it Mother Earth. That is where all life is created. We seed, seed, soil, harvest. And if we have that mind of stating that we are the only, think about this, we are the only race that is uncolonized. Think about it. The other races have colonized themselves because that's how they thought they was going to sustain life. And then they realized the more you take away who you are, the less of who you are. The more you take away of who you are, less of. So if we go into that mind, and we got to stop listening to science, because I learned this. If listen, please start listening to people that y'all think is stupid. Start listening to people you don't hate. Because I got on a live yesterday, and I never heard this one person, this lady, talk as she talked. Of course, she went into her normal rhetoric, but then after the beginning, I was like, I never heard her speak like this. But then I learned something about her. She's fully cursed and in the hatred of her own people, and we realize it. I think we ignore it, but since she's a woman, nobody hold her accountable and responsible for her. She don't. Because you know what I do with myself, what I'm doing with you right now. I ask myself a question. Do I hate? And I have to ask myself this. You gotta ask yourself, do I hate my own skin color people? Why? What have they done? So when you hear me speak and you hear me speak, and I say, brothers, you the ones that was trying to kill me while I was minding my business. That's what was going on in my mind and saying now, I don't hate you. I may have, I dislike you for the things you've done and what you was trying to fight me over what? To prove that wasn't honor. That was to prove how you was trying to, you was defeated and you was trying to defeat me. So what I say unto one, I say unto all, is your path, is your journey, is your choice. Choose wisely. And I'll come back to Elah.